Let's ask this to start. We've outlined the situation in Europe. We outlined the situation on the West Coast, where I am currently not. I'm here in New York City. Do these processes running in parallel as a researcher compound? Do you think they will take notice of each other in terms of how it can impact Google?
Well, in terms of Judge Amit Mehta in the DC District Court, he's probably focused on his trial, but in terms of just the questions around competition and how dynamic the different markets are, I think people will be watching both trials. What's interesting is this type of antitrust case, it reminds of prior cases like Microsoft and AT&T, at least in the DC District of Columbia courthouse. So whatever comes out of this decision will be watched by a lot of people.
And some of the little bits of intricacies of data, of points of fact have been fascinating, Sarah. But overall, what seems to be so hard to prove is it's kind of the counterfactual, right? What it would have looked like if, well, they hadn't been acting in this way, and if ever it would ever have been deemed not monopolistic or not. Can you just articulate how difficult it is to understand whether Google has been playing as a key competitor here or ultimately been monopolistic in its actions?
That's exactly right. I think the counterfactual is the question. So you don't know what could have been. And businesses make decisions, product decisions all the time. So just last week in the case, they were looking at the EU choice screen. And so in the EU, they required another page before the default browser. And so now users in Europe have to pick between a whole page of different browsers. That kind of product decision, it's not frictionless. It makes it harder for users to get to a browser. And so you always have to ask, well, the businesses make decisions to streamline the flow of their products. And so what would have been is a great question.
On the West Coast, in the Epic Games fight, is there any significance that Sundar Pichai, the CEO, the kind of spearhead of the company, is testifying?
Yes, so it's interesting that, they're calling him in as a witness for that case as well. What's fascinating is just seeing how these cases are pulling back the curtain on business decisions. There's so many pieces of information that Google has to decide from to make their product competitive. And just looking at the different slide decks and the business data is really fascinating. Not anyone can be making those decisions, and Google, they have people inside who are looking at all the different options and picking what serves their product.